Everybody, welcome back to my shop for another Flea Market Finds episode. This is going to be the first pick of 2025. This is stuff I picked in mid-January. I'm just getting around to getting this edited and uploaded. And this is from a machine shop that closed down most of its operation. They still had a small part of the building that they were using for some work that they were doing. But the main part of the building they had closed down. They had sold off most of the machinery or scrapped it. And they had a tool room there that had stuff in it. And the guy who was leasing that space from them actually posted on Facebook Marketplace that they were looking to get rid of some of this stuff. So I made an appointment to drive down there. It was just under 2-hour drive. And ended up dropping about $500, I think is what it came to for everything you're about to see in this episode. I've got a couple other picks that I have in the books already that I'll be doing the video on those real soon. I'm going to try and be a little bit better about keeping on top of things and not having them fall too far behind as far as cataloging them and everything. We'll see how that works out. Anyways, let's dive right into this pick. Normally I keep really good track of exactly what I paid, almost like per item or at least per small lot. In this particular situation, it was pretty much piled a whole bunch of stuff together, and at the end we kind of worked out a deal. So I don't really have specific numbers or recall exactly what I paid for each specific item. I can take rough guesses for you, but so if you're really interested in the pricing, this might not be the video for you. But if you're just interested to see the stuff I got, and again, like I said, the total buy on this was about $500. So there were a lot of organizing drawers and stuff like that, cabinets in there, and it took me hours to go through drawer by drawer. I actually found a couple of drawers that had all Jacobs related Chuck stuff. So what's in these boxes here, for instance, this is one new old stock Jacobs Chuck key. It's got a little bit of weird surface corrosion on it there. I'm not sure what metal that is that it did that. Got this weird orange look to it. But that's a pretty big one there.
That's what she said.
Let me just take a quick minute to sort this so we can go through a little more quickly. I want to try and go through this stuff a little more quickly than usual because there's so much of it. I'd like to get it all in one video. So this is all Jacobs stuff. These are all Jacobs arbors, Jacob taper arbors to Morse tapers. These are all Morse taper 3s, except for that one. That's a straight shank to a small Jacobs taper, bigger one. That's an interesting little keyless chuck from back in the day. This is called a high torque keyless, and it's got an interesting little adapter on it. It works perfectly. This is an older Jacobs chuck, and then I found a large key here. There's a whole bunch of keys. Here's another old Jacobs chuck. These are pre-ball bearing model chucks, but the jaws are in great shape. A lot of the surface rust was just from these just sitting in an unheated area. There's another high torque keyless. Then there's a high torque keyless here just like that one, but it's in the box. It looks brand new, but it has no jaws in it, which is interesting. And then a bunch of these are all large Jacobs keys. Here's some more miscellaneous keys. Look at that one. That's a big one. That's probably like for a 32N or something. And then all of these boxes over here are mostly repair kits for Jacobs chucks. So what typically would be in one of these boxes would be you would get this ring, which notice how it looks like it's broken in two. That's actually by design. That's the way these are made. They actually make them, they cut a slot in them like that and then they break them. And that's because you need to have this in two pieces in order to put them into the chuck and rebuild the chuck. So you would get the two halves of the ring and 3 new jaws to go in there. But these were in this box and it says old part. So I don't know if that means these are used. That's what it looks like. It looks like these are actually used jaws. You know, but they're not in bad shape. I could see why they didn't throw them out. And then there's just a whole bunch of more miscellaneous random jaws and kits I'll have to go through. And as far as those kits go, that's the tip of the iceberg. There was another drawer full of these parts here for repair kits for Jacob's chucks. Mostly 32 and 33s on this side and this side. I got a ton of those. Number 2, 2A, 2B. Those would be smaller chucks. And then all these miscellaneous pieces in the middle here. Well, I did a little bit of sorting, and luckily a lot of these were taped together in pairs. So I know these are all good pairs of split rings. So I just got to figure out which of these jaws go with these, and then I can make more sets. I found a bunch of these neat looking Threadwell boxes. They say Threadwell tap and die, but they're actually not tap and dies. They're actually piloted Counterbores, high-speed steel. You can see this one only has 3 left in it. That one's a little more complete. Actually, that's just a drill bit that was stuffed in there for some reason. And then this is the only set that's like larger. And this actually doesn't close correctly, so I think this one doesn't belong in here. Yeah, this is a Weldon brand piloted Counterbore. The rest of these are Threadwells. This is the only square that I found in the whole place. And what's interesting is on this side, it's clearly marked Wyman, Weimann Brothers Manufacturing Company of Derby, Connecticut, 1917. But on this side, it's really kind of hard to see. But it is an early LS Starrett. Lots of times these will be marked number 20 over here. It's either underneath this rust, or it could be that this is early enough that it's just not even marked that way. And the blade from the tip here to the base here is 9 inches, and then from the edge of the blade here to the edge here is 6 inches. I found these 2 boxes of Clipper brand belt lacing or belt lace hooks. So these are for putting together really large leather belts like they used to use back in the old days to drive machinery in factories and stuff. And sometimes you use it in agricultural applications, you know, if you have a tractor with a belt pulley on it to drive like a rock crusher or all different kinds of different implements that could be driven back by that kind of a belt back in the old days, grain mill, whatever. Anyways, this is a box of number 5s, a full box, which is 10 of them, and this is a box of number 3s, which is 5. Oh, I almost forgot about this item before we move to the next pile, which is this is a kind of neat. This is a Brown and Sharp straight edge, so it doesn't have any graduations or anything on it. It's got like a bevel edge, almost like a knife edge on it. And this will just be for doing layout work. But it's clearly marked Brown and Sharp Manufacturing Company, Providence, Rhode Island, USA. And it's got a little bit of surface rust on it, but other than that, it's in great shape. And it measures 18 1/4 inches long. He had several tap wrenches hanging up there, and he wanted to keep some of the tap wrenches in case they needed them. But he was willing to part with this big fella here. This is a Greenfield. It's an early Greenfield tap and die, number 7. So a little hard to see, but actually it shows up on the camera better than it does in real life. All right, so that's a number 7. It's got good jaws on it. So that was a nice score. He also had a lot of clamps hanging up that he was holding on to. A lot of them were regular C-clamps, which is what he uses a lot of, I guess. And I didn't mind because I've got plenty of C-clamps. But these 2 clamps here that I ended up buying from caught my eye just because they had an interesting design to them. I don't know if somebody modified this. I think this is welded on by somebody, and I don't think these were born this way. Certainly handy. So this is a quick release clamp. So you do a close adjustment to the size you want to clamp with this threaded part right here, and then you just kind of snap down and it locks. I think this says it's the Fast Grip Kelly clamp. So again, just kind of a neat design. And then this one's kind of nice too. This is a quick release, like a quick clamp. So when it's released, this should slide. Yeah, it's going to need to be lubed up, a little rusty. But the idea is that this cam action just allows this to move over and tighten just the slightest amount. So you got to get it kind of close first. and then it'll clamp. And this is called a safe clamp, made by the Safeguard Manufacturing Company of Morris, Connecticut. And then he had one of these. This is I believe this is called a dip profiler. I had one of these a while back. I don't remember if I sold it or not. Probably still laying around here somewhere. But this is it's supposed to be an air-driven like die filer. So it's for doing like precision. It's got all these really little cutters, almost like little tiny scrapers. You know, like if you want to do scraping of a surface to flatten it. But it's for, my understanding is it's for die work. And these things were pretty pricey back in the day. I still think I see these sell occasionally on eBay. I have no idea if this even works. Again, paid short money for this just because of the high possibility that it just doesn't work at all. So this particular one, it's got a label over here that says Nord of Denville, New Jersey, but that's probably the distributor, because I think these are Scandinavian or something. So it's a little hard to see, but this actually says it's the die profile machine, and it's spelled D-I-P-R-O-F-I-L. There's no E on the end. And then it goes on to say that you can use steel, carbide, or diamond-edged cutters with this. It talks about how it's for basically honing and other operations. Hand precision work. Saw this vise sitting on the floor. Initially I set it aside because I got so many of these kind of vices and that I didn't really want to bother with it, but in the end I ended up getting some really good deals on stuff, so I think I got this for like $10. I'm sure I wouldn't have paid much more than that because, again, you know, it's not in the greatest of shape. It does move freely, so it's an interesting kind of holder here, because it can only close down to this far and that's it. And then it's got this little key here, which makes me think this is made to hold almost like a tool holder or a block or something that I don't have. The other thing that's interesting about it is that it's got these keys in the bottom here, almost as if like this is supposed to sit in the T-slots maybe of a milling machine or some other machine. And then I just thought it might be handy to somebody because it's got you know, a graduated swivel ability here, and then it also has a tilt, which I think, yeah, there's no precision angle. Well, maybe it's on there. It's hard to see. Yeah, I don't see any vernier or anything on here to indicate, or graduations on here to indicate that you can precisely set the angle. So I don't know, does anybody recognize that? What that might be off of? Hope it's not scrap. Another one of these Dumore hand grinders, precision hand grinder. These are usually rated for between 10 and 20,000 RPM, so they really can get ripping. I think I already tested this one. So it doesn't sound the greatest. Right now it's actually cold though, so generally speaking you want to warm these up slowly and let the grease start to kind of like liquefy again into the bearings. The more it warms up, the faster it'll start going. Yeah, it's a lot faster than it was when I first tried it. It's even going faster now. Sounds like it maxed out right about there. The only thing about these that isn't great is that they're not cordless. You know, otherwise, the amount of RPMs they generate, the amount of fine grinding and sanding and polishing you're able to do with one of these, it's still a great tool. I think that's why these still sell so well. Here's one of the larger brooch sets that I picked up. So this is a Minuteman keyway brooch set by Dumont. This has got some pretty good sized brooches in it. That's a big sucker there. That's a Dumont 3/4 inch E size, and there's the 5/8 E size. And let's see, we got a couple of smaller ones. I don't know what this bar is for, but it's clearly part of the set because it's marked Dumont. And then I was playing around with this because I was curious, but this tray doesn't seem to come out, which kind of perplexes me because this box seems pretty deep. So it almost seems like there should be something underneath there, but I don't think there is. I think it's just, solid wood. There's a space in there. There's got to be a space in there, right? So, I don't know. Unless the wood's so swollen it doesn't want to come out. And I really don't want to keep pulling on these because I'm going to rip these out. This one's already loose. Oh, there we go. That is moving. Oh, it'd be great if this is where they kept the gold coins. It feels too light and it feels like there's nothing in there. I'm just going to go on the assumption there's nothing in there. So this is the other big brooch set that I bought. This thing's huge. The box itself is almost 3 feet long, or at least 2.5 feet long. It's really heavy. And you can see it's a Minuteman keyway brooch set. It's the biggest one I've ever seen. It's called number 4. And it's got large brooches in it. But I mean, these brooches, I've seen brooches this big in smaller sets, I think. These are the D size. But what's unique about this set is it has some massive bushings in it for some really large diameter bores. And that's what makes it really heavy. Gonna be something I'm gonna probably want to sell locally because I'd hate to have to ship that thing. But anyways, it's still a nice set. And actually, I forgot to bring this in too. This is a light that was just sitting on the workbench, and it's not complete. This would have clamped onto another rod that would mount to a table or a machine. And I happened to mention to him that I was interested in that. And before we could talk about a price, he told me I could just have it. This was actually a pretty nice score because that unique looking little adjustment handle right there, or clamp, makes me think that this might be a... I'm not a lamp guy, but I want to say this is E.B. White, or... No, wait a minute. That's who wrote Charlotte's Web, right? It's eluding me right now, but there's a particular manufacturer that's highly sought after by collectors today, and I think this might be one of those lights. So even though it's incomplete, that clamp alone right there, I think I've seen those sell online for like $30. But I'm probably going to end up keeping that one for myself. In the racks, he had quite a few of these style tool holders, these old ones. These lantern post style tool holders. So this is a left-hand offset. So the only reason I decided to buy a couple of these was because this one is brand new old stock. It's even came with a piece of high-speed steel to get you started. So I just thought it was kind of neat. Had the original box. This one is a Walton American tool holder. This one is a little bit more interesting. The Walton American number 7. And this has got the original wrench in here for this, and then it even looks like this is a lantern. This looks like a wrench for this style, actually. Not quite. So that doesn't belong in there. So, of course, Walton is the manufacturer of these famous tap extractors. I've had quite a few of those over the years. They're always popular. I was hoping, yeah, here we go. I was hoping there would be something to explain exactly what the hell. Oh, okay, all right. So here they kind of show you that it's kind of like an all-in-one type of holder there. You can set it for different offsets with a piece of high-speed steel cut in there, or you can even put a boring bar in there. Gives a perfect grip on round or square bits or bars of any size within capacity. Now isn't that special. And then there's this one. This is from the Clifford Tool Company of Concord, New Hampshire. I grabbed this one because it looked to me like it might be a parting blade holder. It says patent applied for. Looked like it was a parting blade holder, but then I noticed that no, it's actually got these funky different, almost like collars that you can put in here. So, I don't know, kind of neat. Oh, I guess I did grab one other one that was there that was out of the, not in a box. And I grabbed this one because it's a boring bar one, and I might actually be able to use this on my on my handy lathe, so I figured what the heck. So that's a number 9 Williams, in case anybody was wondering. He had some catalogs and stuff there. He actually was surprised I even wanted these, so I got these for free. This is a Distin files. So these are superfine Swiss pattern files and rifflers. So it's a catalog for those little tiny... Okay, so... Well, there you go. I learned something new every day. I've run across these doohickeys right here. These strange curved files, and did not know that these are called rifflers. Die sinkers rifflers. There's that Grobet, I'm not sure how you say it. I'm sure there's a correct way to say that word, but so these are really high quality files, and I just thought it'd be neat to have a little catalog. And here's a Nicholson Swiss pattern files catalog. This is a little bit nicer just because it has actual almost like photographs of the files in here. And there's the file cards. Let's see. Specialty tools. Besides a file card, what do they have that's a specialty tool? Well, that's kind of neat. I've never seen one of those. A surface file holder. If I found one of those in a while, I wouldn't even know what it was probably. The file cards and brushes. And handles. And here's another big Grobet File Company catalog. So in case you're curious, this is stamped received 1965. So back in 65, these prices here are per dozen. So net prices for orders under 5 dozen. If you're ordering a dozen of the 3-inch double-aught grit files, it'd be $13.33, so just a little over $1 a piece for the files, but that's 1965. You get down here, the 10-inch half round. How about a 12-inch? 12-inch half round file, double aught, $45.33 per dozen. Neat old box. Appears to be oak. It's got this nice detail here, this almost like a bread bead. I forgot what you call it. Anyways, this kind of joinery here kind of makes it kind of neat. It's sole distributor, Connecticut Industrial Supply Company. Had their label on here. But I just thought this was kind of neat. The old National Twist Drill and Company label of Detroit, USA. And what's in here is this really kind of neat national, it says spline taper drive counterbore set. So it actually says up in the top here, it says Counterbores tool room set number 2. So they had different sets you could buy. And what it's supposed to have in it apparently is counterbore cutters from 1/2 inch to 1 1/4 diameter inclusive. And pilots from 9/32 up to 7/8 inclusive. Counterbore holders, it's supposed to have a 10 MS2 and a 20 MS3. So I'm thinking that's going to be Morse taper maybe? Yeah, so that's the MS3. That's a Morse taper 3. So these are wedge fit apparently. You can drive your wedge in there and knock them out. And here's MS2, and I think this doesn't belong in here. Although it is a National Twist Drill, this is a straight shank 10SS. But it doesn't mention that on the list here, so I think that's why it doesn't have a place. So, kind of a neat set. Gonna be a pain in the butt to ship it, but... Alright, this tub here is the last of the small items from this pick. And then I got 2 more larger items to show you, and that'll wrap this episode up. But let me put this actually off to the side and take some of it out of the box here so we can get a better look at what's in here. I don't even remember what's in a lot of these little boxes. So this box right here is, oh yeah, okay. This is a box of, it's actually a helicoil box, but it's a box packed with these little chip brushes. So it's kind of neat. They look like they're all brand new, and it's stuffed in there perfectly. There's probably 15 or 20 of them in there. Found a couple of these. Clearly this is the original box for it. I think I've got actually a second one right here. Yep, brand new. So this one's actually still got the cover and the label on it with a description of exactly what it is. And it says Dumore Diamond Grinding Wheel. So I don't know what this is for. I think that's an industrial diamond in the end of this one. So maybe that kind of gives it away. I bet you this is for dressing the wheels on the tool post grinder. There it is, right on the Dumore site. It's a diamond wheel dresser, 534-0001. The way this works is you clamp this around a round piece that you have already chucked in your lathe to mount it, and then you run your tool post grinder across the diamond there. And then for versatility, they give you the ability to either mount the diamond facing out here, or up higher here, or in the side even, to get the side of a wheel. So I guess that's a handy little thing. Dumore's still got this in their catalog on the website for $130, but I'm sure that I'm going to get a lot less than that. Let's see what else we got here. This is just a box of miscellaneous stuff. We've got another one of these stare-it back plunge style indicators. This is, I think, a 196. I used to have these memorized because I had so many of them. Works perfectly, a little dirty. And then the remnants of probably what else was in the original kit this was in. That's a hole, inside hole attachment. And this is a mount, genuine stare-it one with that nice case hardening finish on it. There's the vertical rod that goes in here. So you're just missing a couple of snugs, a couple of extra. They're all the same size, so that means that originally they had more of these. There's a small one, and then this is actually another style that came with these, but oddly enough that one's actually broken. Yeah, that's broken. That's trash. What's in here? Oh yeah, these are a couple of boxes of these Bright Boy brand Tough Techs made by Weldon Roberts. Wascally Wabbit. Bright Boy Tough Techs made by Weldon Roberts, and it's the soft rubber binder cushions the abrasive. And I don't remember if these are two different grits. No, they're all the same. So I got two boxes of these things. There's some sort of abrasive blocks. That's all I have to say about that, because that's all I can think of. All right, and then there was this block, precision machine block, has a wheel that rotates and actually has a click stop, and then this is a collet that's in here. And then I found in a drawer, I found 3 more collets. So I think this is a fixture for sharpening end mills or flutes, reamers or something. So it's got an angle built into it. So when it sits on a mag chuck on a grinding table, it'll already have a little bit of a relief angle already built into it. I think originally there was probably something here that covered these 2 screws that might have also had a little label explaining exactly what this is. Which is a shame, because I have no idea what the value of this thing at. I had forgotten that I had found this box in another drawer, and so this one comes with these funky little collets that actually have graduated marks on them. Instructions on use of cutter bit grinding block Oh, these are square in the bottom? Oh, this is a different animal altogether. Here I am thinking that you put round end mills or something in here, but no. So you put your tool, your lathe tool in there and use this to cut it. Wow, isn't that cool? And so this is an actual South Bend tool right here, which makes it interesting. All right. Let's see what we got in these 3 boxes right here. These are Red E-Tools hold downs, size 4. Oh yeah. So these are kind of like the small part hold downs that we've seen in Starrett and Lufkin and other brands, but these are made by a company called Ready Tool. So these are for holding small parts on your mag vise. Basically use these to hold as edge clamps. So we got those little ones there, and we got a pair of longer ones here. These are, well, the size would have been here, it's missing. And actually looks like I got 2 sets of those. So yeah, these would be, these are the size 8 Ready Tool hold downs. All right, so those are neat. I've never heard of that brand before. And then we got this box here, Simmons metal tool cutting hacksaw blades. I don't think that's what's in here. Oh, this is, yeah, actually that's what's in here. This is new old stock lathe cutters, cutting tools, Super Cobalt. Got a whole bunch of them with the neat little box. These are cool. You guys who watch my channel know I collect these little I collect drill indexes and stuff like that. And I spotted this little sucker right here. This says Swiss made. This was probably for pattern files, Swiss pattern files, because all the holes are roughly the same size for the handles to go into. And it's got a little bit of damage right there, but I just thought it was a neat little thing. And then also sitting there was this Grobet. That's that, again, that name of that high-end Swiss manufacturer of files. But this appears to be actually made for these little suckers. Oh, so actually this is another one of these. I just realized that. So there was another cover that went on this somewhere. But these are almost like little Dremel type grinding heads. Interesting. So that would not have been for files because they would have been too long for this short cover to go on there like that. Okay. Was I out of frame on that a lot of the time? But who cares, right? And then this box right here, Circular Steel Company of America. Not sure if this is what was originally in here or not, but just got 4 little grinding stones on arbors here. Oh, and a random grub screw. This box here that was marked bearing scrapers, and that's exactly what's in here. They're almost like Babbitt bearing scrapers. I think that's what they are actually. And these are nice because they're Miller's Falls. I've never seen Miller's Falls branded ones before. And what we've got is got 3 different sizes here. All right, let me clear off the bench, make a little bit of room, show off those last 2 items, and we'll wrap this video up. All right, here's one of the 2 final items from this buy, and this is a Dumore tool post grinder. So for those of you who don't know what the tool post grinder is, this is something you would mount on the carriage of your lathe, and it allows you to do cylindrical grinding, both OD and ID, on a metal cutting lathe. The beauty of this is even a small hobby shop can do some precision grinding on cylindrical items. The bad part about this is you just have to make sure that when you're using one of these that you protect the ways of your lathe. So you want to put something down that's going to collect all of that grinding dust that comes off of the grinding wheel during the normal operation of the wheel, and so that it doesn't deposit onto the ways, because then if it's not cleaned off or gets into areas where it shouldn't be, and you have the metal of the carriage running on the ways with that grit in there, it will actually damage your ways over time. This is the smallest one that was there. There were actually quite a few boxes with tool post grinders in them. Some of the bigger ones were there, but almost every one of them that I looked at had issues. It seemed like either the spindles were disassembled or the spindles were missing altogether. Most of them had just missing spindles. So what I mean by spindles, I don't want to take this thing out, but basically this unit mounts on the carriage. This is the motor, drives this pulley, then you have a belt right here that goes from this pulley down to a small pulley on there. You have multiple size pulleys that come with this, so you can change the RPM depending on the size of the grinding wheel that you're using. And this spindle right here has an arbor on it, and that's made for supporting grinding wheels for doing OD grinding, or you could do large ID grinding with that. On a lot of these models, there's a second spindle that would come with the unit, especially on the bigger ones, and the second spindle allows you to use the larger wheels for OD grinding and then smaller wheels for ID grinding. I think because of the size that this one is, it basically just gives you only the choice of the one spindle. This is the belt guard, which is often missing on these or broken. You can see how easy it would be for this casting to get broken, like that piece right there to be snapped off so that you can't mount it. So this is often missing on these. It's a nice find that that's in there. And like I said, that spindle, actually, I rotated it, feels good. The cord had some damage on it that somebody took care of, kind of just with the old electrical tape fix there. But I did test it, and it does run. So it's actually a good, usable Dumore tool post grinder. The main drawback to these when reselling them, of course, is they're heavy. That's got quite a bit of weight. And just to keep this box from being all dented up and damaged during shipping, you really got to do a really good job of packaging this. So you end up with an oversized box that's heavy, so expensive to ship. And you can imagine with the, this is the small one. Can you imagine with the big ones? The big ones, the box is like this, and even heavier. And this is the final item. When I found this, it actually was not in this case, and then I saw this case laying there later, and I realized that it was actually the case for this item that's in here. So this ugly, moldy, old case that's delaminating the fake vinyls coming off of it, or leatherette covering, or whatever they call this stuff, is in really bad shape. But this is marked J&S Tool Company of East Orange, New Jersey. The handle has long since disappeared, and they kind of made up this handle out of, I don't even know what this material is. It's almost like a hemp. But it actually works pretty well. But let's take a look at what's in here. Yeah, moldy, rusty, disaster. Didn't pay a lot for this because of the condition it's in. But what's in here is a kind of an interesting little tool. I also found this box, which is even moldier than everything else, and realized that this box belonged in here because it's clearly marked on the top that it is 160 degree, I think, or 180 degree, can't quite make it out, concave radii attachment, J&S Tool Company. So this is a little attachment. It's actually in great shape, with a couple of other pieces here in this nasty case. So let's get this thing out of here. So I'm pretty sure this is a precision dressing tool for grinding wheels. Got some rust on the top here, but the rest of it's actually in pretty good shape. So it's marked on the side here, J&S Tool Company Form Master. A little bit of light rust on the bottom there. This screw looks like it probably went right in here. So I just figured it looked like a precision tool, and it might just be worth taking a chance on. I'm probably only into this thing for like 10 or 20 bucks. Well, J&S Tool is still in business. But apparently the units they make now are the fluid motion ones that look a little bit different than this. This is one I found on eBay listed right now. This is the Model D. So that's what I think I've got here because it looks identical. And it looks like, other than missing the diamonds, it's complete. That I've got everything on mine that is in this picture. And I've actually got that extra 180 degree radii accessory. Of course, this one's in much better shape. This one is currently listed for, I think, $4.99. Yeah, $499 or best offer. I haven't been able to find any of these that have sold. The fluid motion ones have sold. Those are the newer ones. So I'm not really sure what this is going to end up being worth in the end, especially in the condition mine's in. I could clean it up a little bit, I'm sure. Wouldn't be too difficult. But those boxes are horrible. All right, guys, that's going to bring this episode to a close. If you enjoyed this episode of Flea Market Finds, please hit the like button. If you're not already a subscriber, please consider subscribing and sharing the video. Till next time, take care.